Welcome into another episode of Tailgate Talk SEC, your home for everything SEC football. I am Will Thomas, and today we're going to be tier listing the SEC teams. Now, I have these split up into 5 tiers based on a combination of preseason expectations and also my own predictions for each team. So let's just hop right into it and not waste any time. Top tier is the contenders. These are the teams that everybody is kind of expecting to make a run at Atlanta, make a run at the playoff, and a run at the national championship. First is Georgia. I've got Georgia going 10-2 overall and 7-1 in conference. Now, the talent profile, you might not think it's still there. I promise you it's still there with Georgia. Their talent acquisition is absolutely incredible. Their running game figures to be much more improved off of last year. And Gunnar Stockton, their quarterback this fall, he's going to be more of a game manager than Beck was. Now, that sounds negative, but it's really not. Because I think that Stockton's going to be a guy who's not going to make a lot of mistakes. He's going to make the throws he needs to. Going back to that Sugar Bowl against Notre Dame, he played very well. There were just a lot of drops by those receivers, which really plagued Georgia all year. I cannot imagine that a Kirby Smart team struggles with drops for a second year in a row. I think Georgia should be the favorite to win the conference, even though it's Texas, and they're my pick preseason to win the SEC. So they're the first team in that contender slot. Second is Texas. Really for the same reasons. One of the most talented rosters in the country. You obviously have the excitement of Arch Manning playing quarterback, being the starter this year. A great duo of running backs. The defense is anchored by guys like Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill Jr. Just really the same story as Georgia, man. I mean, this is one of the most talented teams in the country. I have them going 9-3 overall and 6-2 in conference. So I am a little lower on Texas than most teams. Than most people. Having them go 9-3. I just think their schedule is hard, and there are a few sleepers in the conference that I think can catch them. But regardless, I think that 9-3 is enough for this Texas team to make a playoff, to earn a playoff spot. So we should see the Longhorns back in the playoff again. Next, I have Alabama. Same as Texas, going 9-3 overall, going 5-3 in conference. I think that Ty Simpson is going to be very good quarterback in the Crimson Tide. I think they have a decent running game. Obviously, you have Ryan Williams at receiver to help that offense mesh together. I think they're going to be a very hard team to stop, and the defense should also be pretty good. But with Bama's schedule, you have to go on the road to Georgia, very hard game. The Iron Bowl is on the road. I think Auburn's going to be pretty good. That's a very hard game. And they have to go to South Carolina. If you remember that game last fall, Carolina almost beat Bama in their own building when Bama was coming off of that Vanderbilt loss, I'm pretty sure. So Bama was in a bounce-back spot at home, and Carolina still almost got them. I think that this year an improved Carolina team does. But I still have Bama going 9-3. Making another run at the playoff. Maybe they'll get a 9-3 this year based on the rest of the field. But Bama should be right up there near the top. And then fourth, I have LSU. Now I really have them in the contender tier because of all of the preseason buzz around them, and their talent profile I think is very good. But my prediction for LSU is for them to go 8-4 overall and 5-3 in conference. I have them losing their opener to Clemson, and then losing all 4 of the losses are road games for me. I had them losing at Clemson, like I just said, at Ole Miss, Alabama, and Oklahoma to end the year. Now, Nussmeier is obviously one of the most talented arms in the country. He struggles with interceptions. He did last year, and now with his O-line having 4 of the starters from last season go to the NFL draft, I'm a little worried about what the line looks like. But the team is talented enough where I think they take care of teams like Florida, South Carolina, and A&M. Those are all home games for them. So LSU will still be a very good team, but I do have them losing 4 games, which would not be enough to get them a playoff bid. Moving on to the second tier, which are really just teams that everyone knows are going to be pretty good, but not necessarily ones that are widely believed or that I believe can really win the conference or make a playoff run. The first is Texas A&M. I have A&M going 8-4 overall and 4-4 in conference. I'm really excited to see Marcel Reed play this year as a full-time starter, and I think that their running game is going to be dominant. But look, Mike Elko could prove me totally wrong and finally get the Aggies over the hump. But in College Station, the problem has not been talent forever. They've always had tons of blue-chip guys, a lot of exciting players, and that's the same this year. But I kind of have to see it to believe it with the Aggies to predict that they can make a run at a conference championship and a playoff bid. The second team in this year for me is Missouri. I have them going 8-4 overall and 4-4 in conference also. I think that Missouri's defense is going to be incredible. You have Josiah Trotter at linebacker and Jalen Catalon at safety, 2 transfers coming in who were respectively All-Americans last year. You have Bo Prabula coming in from Penn State to be their quarterback. I don't love that. And I also don't love how Missouri has to replace all their elite receivers like Luther Burden and Theo Weiss from last season. So I think Missouri will be good. I think they beat teams like A&M. I think they win their road game in Arkansas, which could be tricky. But I had them dropping their games to South Carolina, Bama, Auburn, and Oklahoma. Then the third team in this tier is Ole Miss. I had them with the exact same record as the other two, 8-4 overall and 4-4 in conference play. Austin Simmons is very talented. First-year starters in this conference really scare me. But with Ole Miss's schedule, it's not super front-loaded at all. I actually had them beginning 6-0 with their biggest win at that point being LSU at home. But then they have a really hard stretch of at Georgia, at Oklahoma, South Carolina. You get the Citadel, and then they get Florida at home. I had them dropping 4 of those games, the only one there being the Citadel. It's kind of the same thing with A&M. I need Lane Kiffin to show me he can get over the hump before I say they'll get over the hump. So I'm going to see it to believe it mode with Ole Miss and Texas A&M. I had them both going 8-4, just being, once again, solid, strong SEC teams, but who can't quite get over the hump. This next tier I called the sneaky tier. It's teams that they're getting talked about, but not anyone's really predicting them to win the conference with much confidence. But I do think that each of these teams, they can beat any of the top contenders in the conference, and I actually have them all doing so at one point this year. First is Oklahoma. This is my long shot of the year, really. I have Oklahoma going 10-2 this year, with their only losses being at South Carolina and at Bama. So I had them beating Auburn, I had them beating Texas, beating Ole Miss, beating LSU. Just a lot of good wins for Oklahoma. I'm very excited to see John Mateer, quarterback, with Ben Arbuckle, his offensive coordinator, coming over with him from Washington State. I think Oklahoma's receivers are very good. They bring in Jaden Ott, the running back from Cal, who people are forgetting about because he was injured, but he's incredible. So with a very good offense and Brent Venables' defense, I think Oklahoma's going to be very good this year, and I have them going 10-2. I also have South Carolina in this tier. I have them going 9-3 overall and 6-2 in conference. Lenore Sellers, really just enough said. I think that offense is going to be incredible. It'll be even better if we ever hear if Roswell Faison's going to play this year. He is a transfer running back who had over 1,000 yards last year, so we'll see how that turns out. Like I said, I have Carolina going 9-3. I had them beating teams like Alabama. I had them winning at Ole Miss, but I had them dropping their games at LSU, at A&M, and against Clemson to end the year. So with how my whole schedule is predicted, which obviously is not going to be entirely correct, I actually have Carolina earning a bid to go to Atlanta. They would play Georgia because they'd have a tiebreaker over Oklahoma, who is the other 2-loss team in conference here. So I got a big year coming up for the Gamecocks and Shane Beamer. I think they go to Atlanta but lose. And then, so 9-4 overall with a conference championship appearance. I think in order to keep the precedent of conference champs being important, I think that Carolina will get a bid. They can't be punished for going to Atlanta and losing. So I have Carolina making a playoff run this year. I think they're going to be very, very dangerous. The next team in this tier are the Florida Gators. I have them going 9-3 overall and 5-3 in conference. DJ Lagway has the ceiling to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country. But once again, just like last year, Florida's getting absolutely destroyed by their schedule. You get at LSU and at Miami back-to-back in weeks 3 and 4. I had them dropping the game to LSU, but beating Miami. Then they have Texas at home and on the road at A&M in back-to-back weeks. I have them beating Texas at home, losing at A&M. Then I have them losing their game to Georgia, but winning their last 4 against Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and FSU. I think that Florida's offense is very, very dangerous. With Alagua, you have a pair of running backs in Jaden Baugh and Jacoby Jackson, and just a ton of talented receivers, including 5-star Dallas Wilson coming in from this latest class, and Eugene Wilson is back healthy this year. Another guy people are forgetting about because of his injuries, but I think that offense is going to be very, very good. A lot of returning production on defense as well. Look out for the Gators this fall. And then my last team in this sneaky tier are the Auburn Tigers. I have them going 9-3 overall, 5-3 in conference. This is really a prove-it year for Hugh Freeze. You've been acquiring all this talent. The school has been patient with you because of what Brian Harsin left, and it's finally time to show it, and I have him doing just that. I have them losing back-to-back, 3 straight games, at Oklahoma, at A&M, and against Georgia, weeks 3, 4, and then 6, with a bye week in the middle of that. But then I had them winning out. So I got them starting 3-3 and then winning out with wins over Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, Vandy, Mercer, and I have them winning the Iron Bowl against Alabama also. I think Jackson Arnold being there in a new situation is great. I think he'll get his confidence back. Auburn has some incredible receivers and tons of talent on both sides of the ball and both lines of scrimmage. I think Auburn's going to be very, very dangerous this year. My fourth tier are just spoilers. These are teams that have the talent and the profile to potentially beat some of these better teams, but not near to the degree of the sneaky teams. And these guys will just be kind of like flirting with bowl eligibility and being solid teams all year. First is Tennessee. I am very low on Tennessee this year, which I don't mean to come off as an insult, because this whole Nico situation really sent the season for a whirl. And I think that Joey Aguilar coming in at quarterback is not a great replacement, but it's really all they could do. So if they do go 7-5, like I think they will, that really should not be held at all against Heupel and that staff. They're still building a great program. But I have Tennessee struggling a little bit, mainly offensively. I have them losing games to Georgia, Alabama, Kentucky, Oklahoma, and Florida. The next team in this tier I have are the Arkansas Razorbacks. I have them going 5-7 overall and 2-6 in conference. Taylon Green is incredible, Arkansas's quarterback. And I think Xavier Story on defense at linebacker for the Hogs is also a great player. But there's just not a whole lot around those two guys to really get the team going. I have them beating A&M at home. That'll be their best win of the year. They do get a shot at Notre Dame at home also, which could really turn their whole season around, but I think they'll lose that game. I think Notre Dame's just too good. But Arkansas, I think will be just okay. Again, talk about Sam Pittman's job, might still be swirling. So we'll see how they do this year. The next team here is Vanderbilt. I have them going 5-7 overall and 1-7 in conference. I really like Diego Pavia. I like a lot of pieces on that offense, especially Eli Stowers at tight end. I just don't know if overall their team composition is good enough to beat the schedule they have. I have them losing week 3 to South Carolina at home, and then I have them dropping 5 consecutive games. This is at Alabama, LSU, Missouri, at Texas, and Auburn. And I have them also losing their last game at Tennessee. So Vandy they'll be frisky. I don't really see them getting blown out a whole lot, except for maybe those games at Bama and at Texas. I think they'll be competitive week in and week out. I just don't know if they have the team to really push them over the edge and get some of these big wins. And then my final team in the spoilers category is Kentucky. I have them going 4-8 overall and 1-7 in conference. I don't think this is going to be a good year for Kentucky overall, but I do have to keep in mind that Mark Stoops is a good coach. I like Zach Calzada at quarterback a good bit. I think they have enough talent on both sides of the ball to be roughly competitive. You can hear how skeptical I am. I have their best win and only conference win being Tennessee at home. I think they could win that Vanderbilt game, maybe. Maybe they catch Ole Miss at home with Austin Simmons making his second career start, and that's be on the road for him. But I don't see Kentucky being that much of a threat this year. And then my final tier, I have named Mississippi State. And the only team in this tier is Mississippi State. I have them going 3-9 overall and 0-8 in SEC play. Mississippi State's just not in a good spot right now. Blake Shapen at quarterback I think is decent, but I don't know what production you can rely on around him. I don't know who on defense you can really look at to be a catalyst to turn the whole unit around. I just have this being a rough year for Mississippi State. I have them starting off 3-1 because they get Arizona State at home in week 2. Could be another plucky upset spot, maybe. But yeah, I have Mississippi State beating Southern Miss, Alcorn State, and NIU at home, and then losing their entire conference slate and that game against the Sun Devils. So that's all the teams. Those are my SEC tiers for this year. Just really excited to get this season underway. We're almost through July, and then August is officially football season because I say so. So thank you guys for listening to this episode, and I will see you next time.